All right, everyone, welcome to Chapter 14, Section 4. This isn't going to be too long. All right, we're finishing up the end of the chapter here. I really want to focus on the election of 1860 and kind of the start of the war. We'll take the test Thursday, Friday. Monday is Memorial Day, so there'll be no post. And then we'll get into Chapter 15 vocab and ourselves in the June here. So, really, the last thing we're going to focus on is Chapter 4, the election of 1860. At this point, we've already talked a lot about Abraham Lincoln, all right, especially the Lincoln-Douglas debates. All right, but in 1860, let me go back to that debate. In 1858, Abraham Lincoln runs against Stephen Douglas for the senator spot in Illinois. Senator Douglas is the incumbent. He'd already been the senator, and him and Lincoln have those famous debates throughout the state of Illinois. Well, in 1860, Lincoln has become so popular that he becomes the Republican nominee, that new Republican Party that founded in 1856. But because the country is so split, there's going to be three other people who run for president. All right. You have a Northern Democrat, Stephen Douglas. You know about him. A Southern Democrat, John Breckinridge. And then John Bell of Tennessee. All right. So you have four individuals: Republican, a Northern Democrat, and a Southern Democrat, all running for president. I'll show you the picture of the campaign in a second, the election votes, so you can see it. Lincoln's campaign was not about ending slavery, all right? We're going to talk about him ending slavery during the war. But his campaign was about not letting it expand into the West. His goal was, if you eliminate it from the West, eventually you'll be able to eliminate it in the South. Lincoln will receive 40% of the popular vote, but sorry. Lincoln will receive 40% of the popular vote, but enough electoral votes to win. I'm going to show you this on the map. The South goes nuts. All right. A president is in there now who they feel does not represent them. They have no voice in government. South Carolina does the unthinkable, and they are the first state to secede or leave the United States. And what they will form is known as the Confederate States of America, and they elect their own president, Jefferson Davis. Okay? The election of 1860 will be on your test. South Carolina seceding first will be on your test. Jefferson Davis will be on your test just to catch you up. And these are the three individuals: Lincoln, Breckinridge, Bell, and Douglas. They all run for president in 1860. And this is the breakdown. Okay, here's the breakdown of the votes. All right, you've got Abraham Lincoln here, Breckinridge, the South, John Bell, Constitutional Union Party here. And then Douglas basically wins Missouri, states from Jersey. All right, so let's break this down. All right, it's an interesting map to break down. Lincoln gets 180 votes, Breckinridge 72, Bell 39, and Douglas 12. All right, you can basically see the sides forming here. The North is going to unanimously go behind Abraham Lincoln. All right, even though there's a quote Northern Democrat, all right, they're going to vote to go with Lincoln because he wants to stop slavery from spreading. The South, they go with Breckinridge, your Southern Democrat, pro-slavery. Okay? And then the middle here, with the exception of Virginia, kind of flips their votes. I'm going to show you a map and a little bit of what the two countries, the United States and the Confederate States, will look like. It's going to look a lot like this. Here's Abraham Lincoln. Here he is at his inaugural speech in 1860. He is sworn in on March 3rd of 1860, and in April, the South Carolina will leave the country. All right, Abraham Lincoln is considered by most historians to be top, if not the top, presidents ever. His entire term was dealt with the Civil War, and we're going to talk a lot about that. All right, this is a map you need to become very, very familiar with. This is what North America looked like during the Civil War. The blue is the United States. Right? I mean, theoretically, all of this is the United States, but for the Civil War, the Union and the United States are your blue states, or the North. Your South, down here. Okay? Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South North Carolina, and Virginia. That's going to make up your southern states. They elect their own president. They have their own government. They're not listening to the president of the United States anymore. The territories remain territories. Then you have a couple of states in here: Maryland, the new state of West Virginia, Kentucky, and Missouri. They're going to be what's known as border states. I'm going to talk more about that, obviously, in Chapter 15. Again, to give you another breakdown of what the South looked like. All right, this was your new Confederate States led by Jefferson Davis. There he is, President of the South, 1861 to 1865. The stars and bars or the Confederate flag of their country. Here is their Capitol building. This is in Richmond. That's what it looks like today. Okay, and ultimately the Civil War begins. So when President Lincoln takes over, he tries to offer friendship to the South. They just kind of want no part of this. And remember, guys, this isn't something that happened overnight. This is something that literally has been going on for years, since 1820, since the Missouri Compromise. All right. We're going to focus on Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter is in South Carolina. Fort Sumter is a military fort. It belongs to the North. The South will send an army and a navy and tell them, you need to leave the fort. It now belongs to us. The Northern general will refuse. Supplies to the fort had been cut off by the Southern Navy. And on April 12th, 1861, the South fires on Fort Sumter and the Civil War begins. Okay, Fort Sumter will definitely be on your test. Civil War is going to last 4 years. Right? It is the deadliest war in American history because it is America versus America. All right, and ultimately at the end, the president will be assassinated when the war is over, which we'll dive into more next year. And this is Fort Sumter. It's a museum today. Okay, here it was right here. Okay, here's South Carolina, right here. All right, it was in South Carolina. It belonged to the North. The Southern leaders are going to blockade it. All right, surround it, automatically demand them to give it up. They don't. And then the fire starts. And this is what it looks like from the sea. Okay, here are your southern commander at Fort Sumter. Here is your northern commander, Major Robert Anderson. And I believe this is Commander Beauregard. Okay, Anderson refuses to go up the fort, and the Civil War begins in this photo. Okay, here there's no going back. All that compromise, all that talk, all that conversation over 40 years, the country is officially in civil war, split North versus South. Okay, no more going back. We're at war, and obviously that takes us into chapter 15. Okay, so your homework is literally going to be the section 4 worksheet. Okay, it talks about all of this. This is stuff that you know already. Nation divided, the election, obviously Fort Sumter, and what the Civil War is. So do the checkpoints, answer 1 and 2 on the Google Docs, submit it into me, and you will be done. I hope you all have a wonderful time, wonderful day, and please make sure to stay safe and healthy. And if you have any questions, please text me. Thank you.